Yeah, g'day guys. 28th of December, and we're approaching the new year of 2020. And it's a week since I released the last video regarding my situation with the Child Support Agency. Now, guys, I really want to thank you for the overwhelming response. Those people that reached out with their own stories and saying how sorry they were for me that I'm going through this situation, and the stories of their own that they extended to me. Flies are friendly. And, I want to thank you all for that. But guys need to start reaching out, and you need to start, plastering your own stories as well. This isn't a time for us to sit back and wait for things to happen, because they're not. Let's face it, I touched on the family law inquiry a little while ago, and ScoMo was embarrassed into calling this family law inquiry, after his media post went viral, regarding Are You OK Day. And Pauline Hanson's been fighting this situation since 1996 or somewhere about there in the 90s, Nothing's going to come of it. We're all going to be hushed down. You guys know that because you're already getting told, your paperwork and your submissions are going to be held confidential. They won't be released publicly for anyone to see or hear. So pretty much we're back to square one. We're getting swept under the carpet. Now, in the last video, I said that I was going to expose people, and I am. So let's talk about the fraudulent family courts. Where he and she who tell the biggest lies seem to come out the winners, and the ones that really do have the best interest for the care and welfare of the children are left behind. By now, you all would have seen the let's face it, it's illiterate dribblings. The writings of one Lickababalls, fantastic. What a great name for a man who says that he's there raising someone else's kids and doing all the right things because he's got $100 grand a year, give me a break, dude. You and I both know the full story here. You just throw your weight around in your threats. I've got a box full of the stuff here, I had you in court trying to get VROs for coming around, parking across my driveway, and threatened to have me killed for paying $2,000 to have me killed. All you're good for is hitting women and children. Don't you remember the punch you threw at work and lost your job over in the crib room? The stories that I've heard where you've taken an axe to the dinner table where my children were, and yeah, my kids come and told me all that stuff, mate. You threatened to chop her up and bury her in the backyard next to the effing cat, were your words. And, 7 years on, you're still throwing the same threats and the same insults, trying to drag me down, and it ain't going to work. The DNA that's in their blood is my DNA, brother. You can't release that. What, you're jealous because I got there first? I don't want it back. Why would I want to go back to that? I've got the paperwork here from the courts where she's lied a box off. It's fraudulent. You and I both know that. One of the documents, let's have a look and see if we can find it here. This one right here where she states that we had the police come to our place several times and she cannot remember which number is for what incident. Well, on the 11th of August, the court subpoenaed our criminal records and there was not one police mark against my name, champion. What was your rap sheet like? I wasn't allowed to take a copy of that. I had no marks against my name. Yours was pretty colourful. You made Chopper Read look like soft porn. So let's move on. We get these orders saying that you know, none of the children are to be physically disciplined. You know, next minute, I got a couple of police reports there where you've hit my kids. And you've turned around and said, I don't care who you tell, I don't care, you know, what you do to me. You know, both of you have got no respect for the system. You've got no respect for the law. But I suppose coming from you guys into a system that fails and it protects criminals, as it has done in my case, and thousands of others that I've read over and listened to, you know, their stories, I don't really expect much more from the family court. You know, and then I've got these documents of her submissions, her affidavits into the family court, where she's telling the courts, you know, I worked and she was the mummy and stuff like that. And, you know, I paid for everything and I kept all the money to myself. Yeah, maybe you should ask her why the finances were kept separated, because we're always in the red and ended up bankrupt, hey? So to get ahead in life, someone's got to pull the purse strings in, eh? Then here's that document again, you know, another one that says that the kids aren't to be disciplined. And you're not supposed to be around the children. Funny enough, that's what it also says in that document. Then there's another document here from the family support officer, the one that was interviewing the kids, where they turned around and said that the mother of the children was actually talking them in psychosis, you know, don't be around him, you know, blah blah blah. And she actually admitted that you went back into the house when you were ordered not to, you know, because you had nowhere else to go. The agreement was racked up between you and Miss Carr, or Ms. Roma and Ms. Carr in the family courts, in here, was you weren't even supposed to be there. You're supposed to be across the road. You know, on your break, you weren't allowed to be around the children. Yet when we went back to court because of the breach of that order, the story had changed. You were supposed to be living next door, and that wasn't the agreement at all back on those dates. So there's two breaches. You know, the family court didn't pull her up. Then we've got the perjury, where she's called me a criminal, and the evidence was subpoenaed, and yet she was still believed, you know, over black and white evidence that the court itself actually subpoenaed. You know, for 7 years it's taken me to release this video. I've been telling everyone that I know about it. Sure. I won't be silenced anymore. You know, all these documents just in this one little case here, everything contradicts everything that you've got to say about me. It proves that the family court has done nothing to protect my children. DCP did nothing to protect my children. The police did nothing to protect my children. DCP come knocking at the door, talked to you and her, they never interviewed the children. Case closed, eh? Minister for Child Protection of Western Australia was contacted, sent their right-hand man in there and asked DCP Armidale to reinvestigate the cases and claims that I made. Didn't even get back to me about their findings. But what would you expect from a government department that's investigating itself? More corruption by the sounds of it. So when you got arrested for choking her out and she ran round to my sister's place with my son throwing up on my sister's front lawn, you know, it got blamed on a tummy bug. It wasn't because he was upset and had anxiety or anything like that. No, he had a bug. But you get arrested And my daughter has a whole heap of stuff that she hands to the police, and the police turn around and go, yeah, we already know about this character. Next day, you're straight back in there after being told you're not allowed to go home for 72 hours. Respect for the law, yeah? You think I got nothing on you? It's all there in the police files. I saw the files in the courtroom. I wasn't allowed to take a copy. Pretty colourful. And then you come attacking me at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, under the alias of licking my balls. And, you know, I'm supposed to scramble your illiterate dribblings, and you're telling me, you know, that you got fat fingers and blah, blah, blah. You can't spell, brother. Because remember the communication book that I had to start? Because you couldn't keep your nose out of the dealings between the mother of my children and myself. You had your finger in that pie too. Had nothing to do with you. And that was before we even got to court. So you can play big man all you want. You know, your 100 grand, whoopee doodah. Like, it gets back to me what happens there. All the violence, you know, the acts across, you know, at the dinner table threatening to chop her up in bits and pieces because she's threatened to leave you. The night you choked her out and they ran away. What else is there? Oh, her getting 2 black eyes and a blood nose that wouldn't stop till the next day because she got in the middle of play fighting. What else is there? The doors that got bashed in and stuff like that, and then the next morning the doors had disappeared. You used to take your anger out on me, and then when I walked away from the courts because I couldn't handle any more of the corruption, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. You know, you attacking me, her attacking me, the family court's not even listening or doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know, I had respect for the courts. I had respect for the system. I went to the mediation and stuff like that, and she refused to even comply and, you know, readdress their invitation to mediate. And then they were telling me that I can have a certificate to take it to court. Yeah, according to hers, she was the one that got the certificate. Nah, it didn't happen that way, mate. I got phoned at work while I was on the road for Telstra. And they were sending me the certificate. Next minute, I got a call back 2 days after that she was supposed to have complied with the invitation to mediate, and she refused. You know, like she wanted to mediate 2 days after, you know, and they said, well, you need to mediate. Then you started beating my kids. You know, remember the time when you hit, you know, the young bloke across the back of the legs with rope and he got a bruise? And that was photographed and I got the police report for. And then I, you know, took my kids for a while I was trying to get restraining orders from you having anything to do with them. And then I had a warrant for my arrest threatened at me at the family court, the initial family court hearing, because I wasn't going to give the kids back until I knew they were safe. Mate, you can put mud on me all you like. I've got all the documents there to prove everything. I've got the contradictions there. I've got the fraud there. I've got the perjury there. I've got the, you know, the independent family witness personnel that was interviewing the kids and everything. And by that time, I'd already had enough. I was crashed and burned because I had a gut full of all your threats and, you know, the constant having a look over my shoulder. So why don't you have a look at the divorce papers where her and I had an agreement, and then why don't you have a think, you know, about what was discussed between her and I and the children wanting, you know, shared custody. She was the one that told me over her dead body she's going to destroy me. Congratulations. Your corruption and your criminal processes worked. And the system failed my children miserably. That's right, my children, mate. My DNA, not your DNA. Your 100 grand ain't going to buy that. So, your family courts, they're not there for the kids. They're not there for the welfare or the care. They're there for this. Who's got the most money? Don't matter what you do for the kids. Don't matter what what you're alleged to do for them. Because you look at my file, none of it happened. Nothing happened to her whenever she breached the orders or he breached the orders. And you all think that this family law inquiry is going to fix everything. It ain't going to sort out 7 years. So, I won't go into any more detail about stuff. I've got all the documents here. I've got all the videos from when the kids were little. I've got everything. Got all the contradiction. All the Annika, Friedrich, Lurie, Singh and D'Angelo lies, protecting another criminal. I was in the courtroom with her for 2.5 hours and not once was I allowed to object to any of the allegations. Yet more orders were thrown out, more orders were breached, and neither the lawyer or the applicant or her partner in crime were held accountable for breaching the orders. Let's go over a case that was in the news, and kids were killed. Margaret River, yeah. The courts released a document to the media channels stating, it was a 19-page document, stating that it's not in the public interest to know how the family courts operate. When there's a suicide regarding individuals or non-regarding individuals that have been or will be or were going through the family court, the coroner will rule that it was just a suicide. Guys are killing themselves in this country by the rate of 21 fathers a week because the system's so broken and corrupted, and protecting, the ones that are actually doing all this, breaching all the orders, have no regard for the system whatsoever, and they keep protecting them, yet the family court don't want to take any responsibility. You've got blood on your hands, a lot of you. You are all responsible for these broken children growing up, being abused, and parental alienation is child abuse. There's good fathers there, like myself, that were willing to do anything for our children, and you stripped us of our dignity. You allowed these people to continue to bully, harass, and badger, and you didn't support us one way at all. You didn't support our children. You didn't have the children's best interest at heart. How you sleep at night, I have no idea. None whatsoever. How many thousands of cases, and Pauline Hanson's son, Adam Hanson, is one of them that's going through this, and he's been on the phone to me personally. We've had a conversation. We've had many a conversations, And yet you still want to come and you want to attack me because I'm telling the truth and I'm exposing you and you don't like it. Well, guys, you know what? You got enough time to do the right thing. Pull your head in and start teaching my kids that there's a better way. I'll just keep putting my truth out there, and I'll keep showing these documents, and I'll keep telling these videos, I'll keep telling people how corrupted the family court is. Because you got the likes of child support that are backing you as well, I got a family court document saying that all my parental rights have been stripped and removed, yet you're all happy to have your hand out for money, yeah? Since when does money, maketh the man? Since when does money maketh the parent? My rights and responsibilities didn't stop when I was married, and raising those kids under the roof. I paid everything. I paid my way. You think I'm going to stay silent? I'm not. It's going to keep continuing. I'm going to keep saying, I'm going to keep telling my story. You won't shut me up. It's a criminal system. It's abusive. And it's child abuse. The family court's just a murder-making machine. It's just churning blood. Blood money. I got no criminal record against my name. Not one mark. But the more criminal you are, the more help you get. The more assistance that they'll hand you. And the more they'll listen. The more they believe you. And if you ask the Commonwealth Constitution of 1901, this court isn't even legal. None of those court orders bear any legality. So, quit coming and attacking me. And the rest of you brothers out there that are going through this, and you females, start telling your story, because nothing's going to change. I don't care if we go and march on Parliament House and we link arm in arm and we start singing Kumbaya. Something needs to be done, because this family law inquiry ain't going to do nothing. We've got farmers that have been burnt out and droughted out over on the East Coast, and they've had enough because there's no government assistance, or, the government sitting on their hands, and farmers are topping themselves. They're losing their livelihood and, being bought up and ousted. They're doing stuff, and yet us fathers and mothers, that have been subjected to all this carnage, we're sitting here talking one-on-one, like on Facebook and any other social media. It's time to actually do something about this, to stop these criminals. It's time to make shit happen. 2020. 2020 is going to be full vision for the lot of you. It's going to be a wake-up call, because if you don't start doing something now, all's lost. We've got families going through these court systems, and the government is sitting there allowing it to happen. They're rubbing their hands together because of all the cash flow, and all they're doing is breeding the next generation that are going to do it. They're going to do exactly the same, because look at the role models they've had. People like licking my balls. Like, really? That you got a name like, you make up an alias like that to come and attack me, and you expect respect and pretend you're this great big fantastic role model to be around my children? Dude, you're just a bully. So keep it to yourself, eh? Anyway, guys, you know what to do. Drop your comments in. Make up a video. Let's get this stuff viral. Let's get stuff happening, for the new year. Let's start getting kids back into the care of both parents. And I understand that there's some dregs of society out there that are junkies and stuff like that, and they've got criminal records and what have you. But what if this, if we start changing things, and people start cleaning themselves up so they can be there and they've got hope, and the system starts taking care of the thing rather than churning out these zombies, the Walking Dead. What if, we start making a change and we are the change for our children and our grandchildren? The government aren't interested in doing it. We've got to do it. And we can't do it alone. We need to be side by side, and we need to be focused. We need to stop allowing, others jumping in and telling us what we can and do. You get these women that, break it up and then they start seeing another dude and he's jealous because you shagged her first. So he thinks he's entitled to thrash you out for that. We don't want them back. We just want to see our kids. We just want to be in our kids' lives. I only ever wanted 50-50 custody, because of the circumstances that they were living under. But, being told and my name and image and everything dragged through the mud, I've got all the documents, I've got everything there. Let's just be the change. Let's just fix this shit. All you good people out there that know your heart and you know what happens to your children and you're separated from them, from this system, you need to start doing this. You need to start making the change. You need to be the change. You need to push ahead, and I cannot urge this more. You need to start rattling cages. Because the system ain't going to crash, and it's got no conscience. They're just extorting cash for your kids. It's a terrorist organisation. It's got to be you. And if it ain't you, you're going to leave the mess for the next generation and the generation after that. I love Pauline Hanson's work to bits, and I've got much respect for her. But she's a politician. At the end of the day, she's a politician that's got a vested interest, and everything that they said to begin with this family law inquiry, it's crap. We need to fix it, all of us. Unite, arm in arm. You need to start standing up for your kids, growing a pair, and you need to say no more, enough's enough. What are they going to do? Throw us all in jail all together? Fantastic. Got nothing left to lose if you haven't got your kids. And once you go and it starts happening to your kids, what then? I can't drive it home hard enough. You guys need to be the change, all right? All the best till next time. Keep it real, keep telling the truth, and keep getting it out there, eh? Catches.